Hello, dear friends. Welcome to this evening talk brought to you by the Spiritist Society of Bournemouth and Poole Christian Spiritualist Church. I am Fabrício Assunção from the Spiritist Society of Bournemouth. We broadcast many Spiritist studies online each week in English or Portuguese. If you'd like to take part or tune in to any of our activities, please go to our Facebook page for further details. For our presentation tonight, we are honored to have our guest speaker, Dr. Sérgio Thiessen, who will be talking to us tonight about Joanna de Angelis' contribution to the health of the soul. A very welcome to you, Sérgio.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you so much.
Tonight's event is one of our series of fortnightly talks exploring the psychological series of books by the spirits of Joanna de Angelis. These books were psychographed by the famous spiritist medium Divaldo Franco. Through Divaldo's mediumship, the spirit of Joanna has written hundreds of books during the last 40 years, including poems and other spiritual works. Now, a few words of introduction about our speaker tonight, Dr. Sérgio. Sérgio is a physician and specialist in cardiology from Brazil. He has worked as a university lecturer in medicine and for many years has worked at the National Institute of Cardiology in Rio de Janeiro and as co-coordinator of the university extension courses. Sérgio is also a distinguished spiritist speaker and scholar of the frontier between medicine and spirituality, and has given lectures on spiritism in 34 countries. It's a great honor and pleasure for us to have you here with us tonight, Sérgio. Thank you very much. But before Sérgio's talk, let's go first to our friend Lawrence Saville at the Poole Christian Spiritualist Church for our opening prayer. Over to you, Lawrence.
Thank you, Fabricio, and a very warm welcome to you, Sergio. Good evening. So, dear friends, if we could just join just for this short time, just find that thread of the divine that resides within all things within creation. Link in with that harmony, that unity, that peace, that tranquility, and that surety that the unbroken thread, that continuity of life, at this time we experience in this incarnation, living here through these times, but not by accident, all with purpose, all with a mission, to enable our souls to grow, to develop, to open up to the Word of God, and to be of service to all things. That is the ultimate mission for all of creation, to love one another and to be there for each other. So we now hand this evening over in thine understanding, knowledge and wisdom, that as we partake of these evenings, our consciousness, our understanding are expanded to encompass new thoughts, new directions, new ways of achieving the unachievable. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Lawrence. Now it's my pleasure to hand over to Sérgio for his talk on Joanna de Angelis' contribution to the health of the soul. Over to you, Sérgio.
Thank you, Fabricio. Thank you, Lawrence, and all of our friends from the church. I would like to begin trying to remember with you as spiritualists that in our research in spiritual terms, we understand that the earth and this humanity, we have many different kinds of problems, socio, medical, moral problems during all the millenniums in our history, the history of this humanity, by the spiritist talkings. We have too the idea that we are one humanity of tests and atonements. So this is not one reference of word. We have a very long way to our developments in terms of trying to achieve the true happiness, some kind of a very different kind of life that we have today. But we are eternal. We are reincarnated now. But we have many other millenniums to the future through this kind of enlightenment and achievement to obtain a different level of life. And when we analyze the work of Joanna de Angelis, in many ways and in many of her books, we can study important discussions and aspects to our better understanding of the relationship between medicine, suffering, moral aspects, thoughts, feelings, willing, and many spiritual aspects of life. We know very clearly that we are spirits, we are souls, we have physical bodies, we have perispirit, the linking between our soul and our physical bodies. But we need to change our minds because of this new or something like new understanding of life. In those days, I am working, for example, with mediumship groups, trying to verify the true value, the true importance of the discarnated spirits linked to the medical cases, for example, in terms of cardiovascular problems, in terms of cancer, in terms of autism, in terms of depression with suicide ideas, and many different medical problems that we have in medicine today. We are living some kind of materialistic point of view about medicine because we need to advance to a new perspective, a new approach in terms of understanding the human being reality in this world. And Joanna de Angelis help us so much to a better understanding of this. We understanding to the health of the soul, because we need to understand that we need to try to obtain, we need to ask for the health in a global terms, in terms of the essence of life, our spirits or our souls, the perispirit, because it's a very important aspect of life during the health and during many different diseases. And we need to understand the importance of the physical body too, because this is the only aspect that all the people in the world can see, and we are always trying to ameliorate our physical condition, including when we have one kind of suffering because one kind of diagnosis in medicine, and maybe something in the physical body, but maybe in the brain, in the mind, in the soul. So I would like to clarify one idea that this is one issue. This is one understanding that we can do some kind of seminar, because we have many different aspects to see, to study, to try to develop, and many things. I would like to show you first only some kind of remembering that Joanna de Angelis, she was three different personalities in the past before being Joanna. So, for example, I think that you know about this because you are studying during the last month about Joanna de Angelis, and you studied before about the ancient lives. So we have the idea, this is a nice study too, about Joanna de Cusa during the times of Jesus 2 millenniums ago. We understand some very interesting texts, mediumistic texts by Chico Xavier about Joanna de Cusa, the main personality today in this approach. We know about Sor Juana Inés de la Cruz in Mexico, many years after the first personality. And she was very fine too, a very intelligent woman, a very sensitive woman. And we have one writer very commonly studied by the scholars in Mexico and in all countries of Spanish language. But I need to go again to our meeting, our issue today. Soror Joana Angélica de Jesus. This is in Brazil, one new personality. This is Joanna de Angelis, that developed a very interesting life, trying to help the poor people in Brazil. And she was sacrificed again, because her ideas in terms of values, spiritual values, human values to that community. You know about the books. We have many books, many interesting books. We have the psychological series. Do you know about this? We have a very interesting list of titles in terms of books from Juana de Angelis. All of that related to the human being, to the soul, to the feelings, to the spiritual development. She is a missionary of light for everyone, by the mediumship of Divaldo Pereira Franco. But about the contribution from Joanna in terms of the integral health, I would like to point some aspects. In terms of the concept of health by World Health Organization, now we are dealing with a new aspect, the spiritual aspect, the psychological well-being, but not only biological and material aspect. We are changing our minds. And I would like, maybe in another meeting, I am going to the best world psychiatry congress in the world in this year, in the last one and the other one, sending and presenting the experience of how to approach the spirits that are always present in the mind, in the spiritual realm, in the spiritual environment, from the ancient reincarnations in the mental disease patients today. And in the best congress in psychiatry, we can see opening the minds, opening space to me, for example, from Brazil, to go there in different countries and continents, trying to talk about how we can really help the psychiatry patients, offering to them the rescue, the lovely approach to that spirits related to each psychiatry patient because of very bad conflicts and war, for example, situations between them and the patients that we have in my office, for example, or in the spirit society. And it is very fine. The last one, it was in Jerusalem in December. So we can share, my colleagues in psychiatry, as a cardiologist, but with a very interesting experience to deal with discarnated people related to the patients with mental diseases. So we can see some kind of very nice spiritualization of medicine. This is a change in the model. This is a change in the paradigm, because we are coming from a very old materialistic paradigm, and now it is different. We are changing. We are trying to consider the value to understand life as the spiritual life, the life of the soul, the essence of life. And Joanna de Angelis talked to us very frequently about this. So let's go on. In the book, The Integral Man, she talks to us about the emergency of complex pathologies. Yeah, I am, as a doctor, I can see many different problems in medicine, very suffering medical conditions, because the suffering of each one of my patients, the patients of the society around me, the patients that are coming to ask some different help because of the poor results in conventional medicine. So this is one kind of spiritualization. And I would like in the future to talk very interesting aspect about this with you. Joanna, in a period of transition and sudden change in the scale of conventional values, with the inevitable eruption of the excess that generate anarchy, health tends to give way to emotional conflicts, organic disorders, and economic difficulties, allowing the emergence of complex pathologies in human beings. For example, I have many different patients with cancer, with or without metastasis. This is a very suffering aspect. For example, the modern oncology we could see and can see now a very beautiful development of the possibilities to care of the patients with cancer. But those patients, we can see that we have a diminishing of mortality. We have some possibilities, including of cure. But in those days, in the last 3 to 4 decades, I can see every time the growing up of the number of the cases of patients in all of the countries, especially in the United States of America, in Canada, in Europe, and in Brazil, and all the Latin America. So we are trying to understand the mechanism of the cancer from what kind of problem in the physical body, in the perispirit, in the soul. Why we have so many different cases independently of the advancement of the medicine. So advancement of medical therapies. Joanna, human beings have been able to banish diseases from Earth that decimated entire populations, some kind of infectious diseases from the past, in a permanent threat of extinction of mankind. But the accuracy of diagnosis and the use of sophisticated devices have been providing the miracle of detecting serious illnesses before the calamitous manifestations, or at the beginning, together with the advanced therapies which prolong physical existence, reduce pain, and preserve organs, even when those have been affected. But the number of cases is growing. We need to consider, I know that all of you know very fine about this. We have 3 different bodies or structures that we understand in terms of life. If we are incarnated, we have the essence of life, the soul, or the same with the spirit. The spirit, it do not have one human structure, but this is the main aspect of life, obviously. And we have the perispirit, the biological organizing model, and the astral body of the perispirit. We have the human structure, and we have obviously the body, the material wrap. So when I use resonance, magnetic resonance, when I use ultrasound, when I use PET scan, when I use computer tomography, I only can detect the physical body. But all of the medical problems, excluding some aspect of suicide attempts, always we have the problems that will be the physical body medical diagnosis. All of them, they come from the perispirit, but before they come from the wrong actions, the wrong feelings during the last and ancient reincarnation. including one idea that I know that all of you know very fine, that we have billions in this side of the life as human beings in the material life. But in the spiritual reality, we have many and many billions of human beings, but obviously without the physical body. So it's very interesting to discuss the idea that the people that are sick, that have different illnesses, they are living now too in the spiritual reality. And when they come to the material reality again in a new reincarnation, they comes carrying with them the vulnerability, the predisposition, because bad things, bad actions, bad choosing in the past life, they compromise the structure of the perispirit. And the perispirit will be the same when they take, as we did, when they take another physical body. So, for example, the cancer, when we work in terms of spiritual aspects of cancer, we have one idea that, for example, the pride, the excessive pride, and many different actions because of the pride, we can deteriorate the perispirit, some kind of a fraying of the perispirit. And so when we comes to the life, the physical body again, we can see the problems in the perispirit, the fraying of it, changing the cellular, the molecular, the biological structure of the physical body. And we have a little cellular division with the beginning of a tumor in a few months or a few years. So we are trying to understand now the relationship between spiritual and moral problems coming from our history, from the old lives to the our life in the physical body now. We are changing. We needed to change, and we can see very nice developments. Here we can see our structure when we are in the physical body. We have our body with the human aspect. We have one kind of transition, but perispirit, it is molecular too. It has one atomic basis. So we can tell to you that the perispirit that we cannot see with this kind of eyes, of vision, it is material, but with another different structure. Because of that difference, we cannot see, because we cannot, only if I am a medium, I cannot see the discarnated people around me as you the same. But we need to understand that we are spirits. If I change my word, if I go to Jupiter, if I go to an exoplanet outside the solar system, I will not need this perispirit. I will left here, but my life is the spirit life, the soul, and with my spirit I can stay, I can live in every kind of reality in the big universe. So we understand that when I look to this picture, the idea of all of our biological, all of our diagnoses in medicine, we can detect differences in the cells, in the neurotransmitters, in the very little structures in this physical body. For example, when I have a cancer or acute myocardial infarction, it is very clear to see the changing of the different structure. But when I have a patient with depressive disorder, a very severe depression, I can see the lack of neurotransmitters as serotonin, as many others. But, for example, when I study the brain of the children with autism spectrum disorder, I can see 6, 7 different aspects of the brain. But all of this, modifications in the body, independently of what kind of tissue, what kind of organ from different diseases, all of that occurrence in the body comes from the spirit and the perispirit. It is modified first. And this is the way, that's the idea that in the spiritual reality, we have hospitals, we have medical institutions, as we have in this side of life. Joanna de Angelis tell to us about the human complex too. The human individuals is a grouping of energies at different levels of vibrations. This intelligent energy in its original expressions as spirit undergoes condensation of molecules, thus constituting the intermediate body, the perispirit. This structure, this is some kind of a key to the next or to the future medicine. In more or less 20 years, 2 decades to the future, we will have resonance, we will have computed tomography to see, to detect, and to analyze the perispirit. And think with me, when all of the people was born again, we comes from the spiritual reality with our perispirit. We take a new physical body. And if I, as a medical procedure, if I analyze all of the people with 5 or 10 years old, I will have the possibility to know about the condition of the perispirit of each one that are coming to this side of life in the next few years. So I will have the possibility to do some diagnosis of modifications of the perispirits because of the old lives, and I will use magnetism, spiritual passes. I will use the prayer, the meditation. I have today, but in the future, I will do it very early during the human life. Before the physical body to be modified and developing one kind of different disease. Do you understand? 20 years we will have this technology to do a very important preventive medicine that we do not have this way in this time because of the perispirit. So, which is responsible for concentrating the particles which manifest as the somatic body. Let's go. Spirit, with great propriety, Albert Einstein defined man as an electronic set governed by consciousness. This conducting consciousness, certainly pre-existing and surviving the body, the spirit is the eternal self. The immortal spirit carry out countless evolutionary experiences, working in each one of them the values that lie within him. God in everybody, God in us. About spirit, again, with Joanna in the book, The Integral Man, in a sense, thinking energy possesses the divine resources that it must externalize. For that, like a seed, only when submitted to the germination, it allows the emergency of its extraordinary elements, until then dormant. So we have many aspects very interesting to take from the books from Joanna de Angelis. In the same book, there are only diseases because there are sick people. That is, disease is an effect of deep disturbances in the field of mental actions, the thinking energy or spirit. All of our problems comes from the spirit, because the spirit is the main aspect of life. All of the other, the perispirit, and different modalities of intermediary mentals of life are consequence of our mind, our soul, or our spirit. This thinking and energy, pre-existing and surviving the body, evolves through reincarnation experiences, which constitute the process of acquiring knowledge and feelings until it achieves wisdom. This is our future. And in the next centuries, in the next millenniums, on earth, or when and where we are living, will be better. And diseases, mental problems, schizophrenia, panic, chemical dependence, problems with drugs, or bipolarity, or depression, or autism, all of this, including in the physical body, very more clearly the cancer, the neurologic problems, the congenital problems, we will have be with some kind of victory in comparing that we have today in those days and in the past. Our future will be different. I commonly hear from the spirits from the good spirits, from our friends in the spiritual reality, about the earth as a hospital, as a big hospital, because in the government, in terms of the universe, the people with some kind of moral problems, we are put together in the same environment. And here we have a big school, a very basic moral school from spiritual development. But in the same way, this is a hospital. The people that was cured about some kind of moral disturbances, they don't live now with us. They come here, but because they are instructors, because they are very developed people in spiritual and moral terms, in the fields of the art, the philosophy, the science, and the spirituality. Today, I am working in the with my colleagues in the very nice meetings with doctors and other professionals in health, with the idea of spiritualization of medicine, compassion, empathy, solidarity, charity, pardon, forgiveness, gratitude. We are dealing with spirituality, religiosity, and psychiatry. Spirituality, religiosity, and cardiovascular disease in the best congress in those two areas, because they are more developed in comparing with other specialties in medicine. I would like to share with you that as an internal medicine practitioner, as a cardiologist, I am working much more with mental people, mental diseased people. I am a psychiatry in development, because we have so many patients, and I like to help, I like to care, I love my job, and I need to put in evidence in this new psychiatry, spirituality and religiosity. And I have, with my colleagues, how to deal with this with the guidelines from Cardiology International Society, from Psychiatry World Organization, with spirituality, because we have our opening possibilities to put those aspects in terms of science, in terms of objective science. And Joanna de Angelis, in many books, help us, as Emmanuel and André Luiz, by the mediumship of Chico Xavier, and to the books from Allan Kardec, group of books to help us to change our minds in terms of reality, in terms of all of the beautiful and very nice aspects of life and medicine. Self-discovery in the genesis of the thinking energy, the primary instincts resulting from remote experience remain inherent, which are externalized when in the area of reason as impulses, tendencies, automatic and disturbing fixations, requiring disciplinary channeling in order to make them feelings that reasoning will conduct without harm and disturbance. So in many books, Joanna give us very interesting aspect as some complementation from Allan Kardec, from Emmanuel, from André Luiz, and other good spirits in the main discussions of spiritism, spirituality, life, and medicine, obviously. I would like to go forward, spirit and evolution. So, in another book, at each stage of vacation, in or out of the body, the spirit conquers blessings that it incorporates in the evolutionary heritage, shaping its future bodies according to such acquisitions. So the idea of virtues, the idea of good feelings, change the molecules of the perispirit. And then, when in the next reincarnation, linking with the molecules of the new physical body to a better situation. So, when we think about medical problems, we need to understand that independently of, for example, risk factors to coronary heart disease, for example, cholesterol, hypertension, diabetes, family history, and many others. I have patients with no one risk factors, but with very severe presentation of coronary heart disease. In the other point of view, I have people with all of the risk factors, but without coronary heart disease. And we are understanding the idea that our thoughts, our feelings, our use of the will, our human experiences in terms of the balance, in terms of virtues, but we need to consider that our past lives, they were very modified because of vicious attitudes and choosing during many and many old lives. So we need to deal with our legacy from the past, with good things, but with bad decisions and bad actions, compromising the fine, the very small atomic, subatomic, molecular substance of the perispirit, and then the physical body. We would like to share with you many different aspects, for example, spirit and evolution from Joanna de Angelis in terms of our capacity of recovery, in terms of guiding us to the future without so many different of diagnoses in medicine as we have nowadays. This is a very interesting issue, a matter to a seminar, to a new life, because perispirit, this is a science. In the future, in a few years, we will study perispirit in the classes of anatomy and physiology, in the faculty of medicine, in all of the universities around the world, in the next future, because this is a key. Because of the importance of this thematic, the good spirits, including Joanna de Angelis, they could not wait for us in science, in common science. They use the mediums clearly prepared to receive those very nice aspect of knowledge to some kind of advancement of the medical science. And perispirit, this is a very beautiful aspect to discuss, to study, and we can do it in those days because we have the elements. For example, utilizing mediums with clairvoyance, with the capability to receive people with different diseases in the spiritual environment, in the spiritual realm. I can care of them in the mediumistic meetings, because that spirits, they are related to many organic and mental problems in medicine of my patients and the patients of many colleagues that send to that group. They patients with very common difficulties to deal with signs and symptoms, and they are suffering to be helped by the mediumistic approach and the magnetic, the passes, the magnetic fluid as a very nice complementary medicine that we have today. Well, I think that because of the time, maybe that I would like to interrupt the talk now, waiting maybe for some questions that you can have about those very nice aspect from the work of Joanna de Angelis. Maybe?
So I was on mute. Thank you very much, Serge, for that. It's a wonderful presentation. So we're going to go for our friends on Facebook and YouTube. If you'd like to ask any question, we will be moving on to the questions and answer session now. So as we wait for the questions to come along, I'm just going to read through here some comments that is coming up from our friends on Facebook and YouTube. So we have Joan from America, Lynn from Vancouver Island in Canada, and our lovely friend Sue from around Dorset. And I think this person might be one of your students, Dr. Neandro Vale. Says, thank you very much for the opportunity to watch another great piece of presentation of my great teacher who I have learned so much, especially on the spiritual approach of healthcare.
Thank you, Leandro. Thank you.
And we have a comment here from Sue. She says, brilliant. Sergio, bringing the spiritual aspect into the medical understanding in a truly holistic sense, thus helping people understand that there are many spiritual reasons behind the disease/illness, which materialize in the physical form. Definitely great steps towards future medicine, therapy, and self-healing.
Thank you, Sue. This is a very important understanding from Joanna, from many different authors in this linking, bridging in terms of spirituality and medicine. This is a new one because in the past we could not see the relationship of moral aspects and physical and mental problems in medicine too. And this is an invitation to everyone. We are changing our mind in terms of these different ways to understand the suffering of everyone, the suffering of humanity, the idea of here we have, and we are living in a big hospital, and we lived for millenniums before this new understand. And we are very grateful to all the spirits, including Joanna, that are helping us by the mediums in mediumship meetings to give some very nice and definitive aspect to our medicine, our recovery, our new understanding of cure. Because if I understand that when I have a cancer, I take the organ of the tumor out and I utilize the chemotherapy or radiotherapy, I will be cured. This is a level of cure. If I do not change my mind, maybe that in the same reincarnation or in the next life, maybe that because of my errors, because of my mistakes in life, maybe that if I not change, I will have the necessity to be sick again with another kind of cancer. So we are learning. This is a very amazing learning. We can see in the same way, in the same time, the earth as a school to know about this, including to know about a new medicine. We need to change our understanding about reality in general, but about sickness, illnesses, suffering, diseases, and our the main aspects of life that we have, that we are in our souls or spirits. Thank you, Sue.
Thank you, Dr. Sergio. So we have other comments here. Someone from San Francisco in Texas. Neandro is asking a question. Can you make a comment about apometria as a guideline on those treatments?
Well, apometria, it is some kind of mechanism, some kind of possibility to deal with spiritual problems related to different diseases. This is some kind of research to understand and to try to care in a better fashion about many different spirits related to each one of the people with some important and different diagnoses in medicine. But I think, Leandro, this is a science. This is a tool to one relationship between medicine and spirituality. But we have many others. But in one different meeting, we can study together about apometry, as we know in English.
Thank you. And we have another comment coming from Joanne. She said, I totally understand this. My mother was a nurse who would visualize her cells and molecules when she would get sick. She would do the same as a healer.
Well, thank you, Joanne. I think I will invite your mother to live here in Brazil to help us to care people with different diagnoses in medicine. But this, because this is a very nice feeling, this is a very nice sensibility, very good to the caring. And I would like to point now that spiritism, this is a science with some very nice philosophical and different aspects. But all of this approach with mediumship groups, prayer, invitation to meditation, guided meditation, and many other spirituality resources in medicine, this is free of charge. We do not, no one interest in terms of payment, in terms of fees. This is by gratitude. This is free, because we have one very important and nice linking between all of the things and issues and matters in terms of spiritism and the gospel of Jesus. And we learn with Jesus that we have the possibility to choose to go in that way, to be fine, to be amorous to the people that are suffering, the people that are sick, the same model of Jesus Christ. Do you understand? Because now I am a medical doctor, I am a physicist too. I love to study, to read books of different matters, but we are Christian. And as Christians, we love to help the people that are with medical problems, especially when we are utilizing the resources and the tools from the spiritism science to help the people with different diseases.
So next comment that we have is from Leah. She says, I do wish I had this therapy instead of cognitive therapy. I endure. I'm so thankful for your information. I will study more with a thirsty mind. I'm thankful for Kardec Radio, so we can listen over and over again. Because I think I forgot to mention to you, Dr. Sergio, this broadcast is also being broadcasted in America through Kardec Radio, and people can listen through Kardec Radio, the presentation tonight. And she mentioned about cognitive therapy there.
Thank you, Leah. Thank you. I have many friends in Kardec Radio, including Vanessa Anceloni.
Cool. Our next question is come from our dear friend Bob. He says, thank you for a very interesting talk. Can the damage done to our perispirit by excesses in the past incarnations be fully reversed by our living a virtuous life in our current incarnation?
Thank you so much, Bob, for your question, because this is a very important issue, because um, we comes to a new reincarnation with a program, with one preparation to live in terms of uh, going to a new way of life. So we need always to think about virtues and vicious. And independently of the past problems that are with us, if we change our kind of life, our minds, and we can achieve a different level of enlightenment in terms of different virtues, caring the people, being worried with the suffering of the people, and working to help everyone. When we change our mind and thinking in terms of prayer, intercessory prayer to the people, when we be some distance of the materialism and becoming near the spirituality and spiritual understanding of life, we are changing. So this higher frequency in terms of vibrations, uh, uh, as soon as possible during each life, we are changing the molecules, we are changing material atoms and spiritual atoms too, and our perispirit can achieve a very clear amelioration. And when we have our different thoughts, our different perispirit, our physical body will be always better. And so the idea of preventive medicine today in the medical university, in the medical science, in hospitals, if I go, Bob, in the NIH, the PubMed, this is a site from the World Health Organization in the United States, the best in the world, and I put, for example, spirituality and health, I have 20,000 of papers to study. When I put prayer in spirituality, I have 10,000 of research to see, to study, to discuss with my colleagues. This is another evidence that medical science it is worried with the changing that we can obtain in understanding reality in terms of health and disease to our better future. Thank you, Bob. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Sergio. Before I go to you for our closing remarks, I just would like to invite you all for a beautiful event that is happening tomorrow. The event is organized by our British Union Spiritists of Society. The event is taking place tomorrow, the 3rd of July, this coming Saturday, and this is someone that you know. He's quite frequent here amongst us. He's been with us a few times. So it's Dr. Dan Assis. He will bring the big enigma. That is the topic of his event tomorrow. The big enigma. It's one of the events that Buzz is doing to celebrate 175 years anniversary of Léon Denis. So the event is tomorrow, 4 o'clock, and it will be broadcast at the British Union Spiritist Society webpage on Facebook and YouTube. So before I hand it over to Lauren for the closing prayer, is there any closing remarks either yourself or Lawrence would like to make?
Absolutely fascinating. And it seems to be getting quite popular now with science and spirituality talking to each other. And we've had so many programs on in the last 15 months here, and there's been a lot of evidence that maybe science is starting to look at spirituality as that missing fifth element of things. So yeah, it's just wonderful how this is unfolding. So thank you, Dr. Sergio. Lovely evening.
Thank you, Lawrence. Thank you so much for your invitation. I understand that in the future we'll be together again. We have many and many different issues to study, to debate. I am very happy to stay with you, you and all your colleagues and friends in your church. Thank you, Fabrizio, for your invitation too. And I would like to tell you that in a few minutes, I will stay with a very nice group of prayer for humanity, because including Lawrence, this is medicine.
Yeah.
Because preventive, not only preventive, but curative medicine too. We are together with 34 countries. We have 7,000 of people together in different countries around the world in a common and collective prayer.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
This is another, Lawrence, this is another issue to a future talk, the prayer in medicine, the prayer in life, the prayer during all the history of humanity. This is a lovely matter to study together too. Indeed. Thank you so much. I love you.
I love you too. We have here, where we have circles, I always teach the power of prayer as part of the circle, the actual power of prayer. It's something people don't really pick up, but the right prayer from the heart, amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, Dr. Sergio, thank you very much for being here with us tonight. On the behalf of the Spiritist Society of Bournemouth, we are so happy that we could get together tonight for this meeting. There are loads of comments that is coming up on Facebook. If you have some time, you could go and have a look. It's lovely to see the reaction from the public that's been watching us. It says, wonderful talk, very inspirational, optimistic for the future. Thank you so much. And then we have another one from Susan. Thank you for a truly fascinating and thought-provoking evening, Dr. Sergio. And then comments from Elsa, I love you all. So thank you very much, all of you that has been here with us tonight. Our next event is on the 16th of July, and our guest speaker is Andrea Marshall from the United States. She will be here with us on the topic that is yet to be confirmed, but take some notes, and our next meeting will be on the 16th of July with our guest speaker, Andrea Marshall. So thank you all for being with us. And I hand it over to Lauren for the closing prayer.
Thank you. And once more, dear friends, just find that peace, that stillness within, and to send out those thoughts of gratitude. We need to show gratitude to all those ones within our lives. Whatever lessons they bring us, they are there for our development and our growth, and to exercise our compassion and our love in return. And give gratitude to for being part of this world at this time, for experiencing so much, to be able to express the divinity that resides within all of us in so many modalities, in so many ways, and also helping us to understand that true value of life, the value that cannot be held in a purse or a wallet or a bank account, but only in the heart. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Lawrence. Thank you, everyone. I hope to see you soon. Have a good night. Be well. Be safe. Good night.
Thank you. Bye-bye.